Hello and welcome to the third part of this experiment where we're going to look at how India get on in the next few years. So when we last left off, it was 2034. India were performing decent but not good enough to get into the World Cup. But as you can see, the last 4 years have been very successful for India. They haven't been, their lowest point was 28th, now they're currently 18th in the world, which is pretty damn good. So let's have a look at the senior squad. As you can see, the current ability is pretty good. On a few players, the rest is all above 100 current ability. And a lot of them still play inside of India. And a lot of them have moved away from India. Their best player is still Shrikant Perera, who is still at Ajax. He's been there a few years. Is a regular in the first team squad. But not like, he's not setting the world alight over there. But he's doing pretty damn good. And then Mamoon Hussain plays for Mohun Bagan in India. He's pretty decent. And here we have a guy 19 years old, Shahil Lingdo, at Chennai City. 125 current ability, 184 potential ability. So that's very high. Here, this centre back, Karan Dutta, plays at Mohammedan. Current ability 120, potential ability 190. And as you can see, there's a lot of high potential players in this squad, so that's a good sign. And let's have a look at the other squads. In the under 23s, which is the squad I forgot last time, I don't really know how I managed to forget it, but I did. I'm very sorry. But we see a lot of players with good potential. 189, 170, 157, 152 and so on. And they're all still in India. All of these players here are still playing in India. And then the under 20s. That's very disappointing, and the under 19s is very disappointing as well. So let's have a quick look at the schedule, and they did manage to make the World Cup. But let's first look at the Asian Cup, where China managed to win it and India finished second. So that's a shame that India didn't manage to win it, but second is a very good achievement. I'm very proud of the boys. So let's see how they got on in their group. They managed to be first, but won 2 games, drew 1 game. Qatar, Kyrgyzstan and Jordan. And then in the second round they played North Korea, won 2-1. In the quarterfinal they played Uzbekistan 4-2. In the semi-final they played India. They played Australia and managed to win 2-0. And in the final 4-4, where China won on penalties. So that's very disappointing for India. So let's have a quick look at the World Cup qualifiers. So in the second round of the World Cup qualifiers in Asia, they got in a group with Singapore, Lebanon, Chinese Taipei or Taiwan and Sri Lanka. And they managed to win all their games in this group and progress to the second round, which is the final stage, which is something they should obviously be doing. In the groups, they managed to top their group. This is not an easy group with India, Iran, Japan, Singapore, North Korea and Saudi Arabia. But they managed to win this and go to the World Cup. So this is the first time we've seen India make the World Cup. And then Japan beat Uzbekistan in the playoff, and did Japan make it? And Japan beat New Zealand. So let's have a quick look at the World Cup and see how India got on. So as you can see, India got a very tough group, and they managed to actually progress, finishing second, just above Italy, which is, it's very impressive, and just below Brazil, who had a better goal difference, but this is very tight. So let's see how they got on in the second round. Where are they? They lost to England 4-0. So that's the Indian adventure in the World Cup for this time. It's not bad. I think it's good that they managed to reach the World Cup, but it's unfortunate that they lost this bad. So let's have a quick look at the SAF Championship. and they won it the last few times. So let's have a quick look at the Indian League. As you can see, the Indian Premier League has shot up in reputation quite a lot. They are now the second league in Asia. So when we last left you, they were, I think they were 9th. So the season next they got 8th, and then all the way up to 2nd now, which is great to see. And then the winners of the league were Aizawi FC, won it once, and then Churchill Bros won it 3 times in a row. So that's impressive in a league where that hasn't happened at all since the start of this experiment. So very well done to Churchill Bros. So let's have a quick look at the transfers and see if any big movements have been made. So let's go back to the season, and we can see that a lot of transfers have been made. The highest fee was Iru Robaco from Mohun Bagan to Everton. And he is a Portuguese player, and he's been in India for a few years, so only played 4 games in 3 years, which is kind of weird, but okay, I don't judge. And then a lot of players coming in, a player from Montpellier. So let's have a look at the next season. The biggest transfer fee was 14.75 million, but it was a transfer within the league. The same goes for Alemão, who went from Churchill Bros to Mumbai for 5.25 million. And then a few transfers from Besiktas, Wolfsburg, Dynamo Kiev, but still most of these transfers are within India. The next season we saw Godwin Solomon move from Aizawi FC to Churchill Bros for 14 million, which is a high transfer fee. The Nigerian midfielder who's been in India for a few years now. And then we saw Santos FC from Mohammedan, Adnan Schaefer, doesn't really sound Brazilian, but might be German immigrant name. He's a good player, but I mean, yeah, he's okay. Let's keep it at that. And then play from Everton to Mohammedan. So a lot of transfers, and the fees are kind of steady among this mark. Then another 14 million rising up to 17.5 million transfer from Palmeiras to Aizawi FC. Matheus Ferreira is a Brazilian 31-year-old. He's played in Brazil almost all of his life and just decided to move away from Brazil. And then a lot of players also moving out of India. So let's have a look at the current season. And we see Mamoun Hossain move back to India. Of course, he is an Indian national, and he's played in France for a few years when he went to Ayo Auxerre on the free from Mohun Bagan to Olympique Marseille in Ligue 1, and he went back to Mohun Bagan in the RTL A-League in India. So let's have a quick look at the Indian Cup. So the Durand Cup has been won by Shillong Layong, Aizawi FC, Chennai City and Mohammedan. And the Federation Cup has been won by Mumbai twice, and East Bengal and Churchill Bros. And this is actually the most renowned cup in Asia, which is pretty damn cool to see. So let's have a quick look at the AFC Champions League and see if one of our Indian teams has managed to win this competition. So as you can see, this competition has still been dominated by the Chinese teams. So let's have a look at the past winners. And again, we've seen Churchill Bros and Chennai City make it to the final, but lose to Guangzhou Evergrande. So let's have a look at last year's final. The final was a close tie, but Guangzhou managed to win it, and the other final was not very close with a big margin. They managed to beat the Churchill Bros. So let's have a quick look at the Asian Confederation Cup, which has been won by Niroka 3 times, and Al Sadd from Qatar, I believe, yes, from Qatar, have won it once. So this is very impressive by Niroka. And we've seen Shillong Layong beaten by Al Sadd in the final. But the dominance of the Indian teams continues in this competition, and I'm very happy to see that. So I'll see you in 4 years, and we'll look at how India got on in all the different competitions. Welcome back. It's 2042 and we are back on the Indian screen, and we've seen India drop down a few places to 20th, but they have been really steady around this mark for the last 8 years. So that's a good sight to see and a very good sign for the future. So I'm delighted about that. So let's have a quick look at the national team. And again, it's been kind of the same, but this guy, we've seen him like 4 years ago, Xie Lingdo, and it's already at 172 current ability, which is really good. I didn't think he'd make it this, but he's a very impressive looking player. He managed to go to FC Porto on a free, actually, so that's kind of disappointing for Chennai City. But he's already made 70 caps and scored 54 goals at the 23-year-old. That's insane. I'm very delighted for him. Look at these stats as well. Very well rounded for a striker. Very impressive to see. And then there's a lot of, well, very average and to pretty good players. So this is not a bad squad. And we've seen Joseph Saha, also 24-year-old, move to Olympique Lyon, which is a good move for him. Also on a free, which is very surprising. And then Shrikant Pereira is still at Ajax, 32 years old. He's still playing regular football, so nothing to complain for him. Well done. And then there's a lot of other players, and there's a guy with 190 potential, but he's not going to make it. He's already 25 years old. But oh, that's Garan Dutta. Yeah, I remember him. That's a shame that he didn't move to Europe. That's basically the thing they need to do to reach their potential. Just move away. But that's unfortunate, so let's have a quick look at the other squads. So there's a few players with decent potential. 170, 159. That's pretty good. The under 20s as well, 159, 148. That's not bad. The under 19s, there's one guy, this striker, Olashiran Metai from Mohammedan, with 90 current ability and potential ability of 174. That's very impressive. So we'll keep an eye on how this guy develops. Oh, he's actually on loan at Mohammedan. Okay. So let's have a quick look at the Asian Cup before we look at the World Cup qualifiers. So as you can see, Japan won the most recent edition in 2039. I kind of hoped to see India win this, but it's a shame they didn't. Oh, they finished second once again, so I guess they should win it next time. Let's hope for that. But this is a shame to see. I really hoped to see India win it this time. But let's look at the group where they played North Korea, Turkmenistan and Vietnam, and they managed to become first. In the second round they played, where are they? They played Jordan 3-0, so that's a good game. And then they played the United Arab Emirates, beat them 6-0. That's a good result for them. In the semi-final they played China and they won 2-5. So very impressive results for India, and Japan only managed to beat Iran 4-3. So that's a thrilling game. And then in the final, Japan only won 1-0. That's a shame. That's a shame. They were so close but still so far away. So let's have a look at the World Cup qualifiers. So it's this one, and let's see the stages and current, and then the second round. All groups, let's see where they are. India managed to become first and win all of their games in the group with Uzbekistan, East Timor, Palestine and Cambodia. So in the final stage they got in a group and they managed to actually get to the World Cup. They only lost one game, but they won 9, and they finished above Australia, China, Uzbekistan, Singapore and Malaysia. So China actually didn't manage to make the World Cup because they lost in the playoff to South Korea. So did South Korea make it to the World Cup? They did. They beat New Zealand. So let's have a quick look at the World Cup and see how we got on. As you can see, Argentina won it but let's have a quick look at the stages and see all groups. Whereas India finished second behind Argentina and above Serbia and Cyprus. So very well done to India. So whereas India now, they lost 1-2 against France. So again, not a bad performance for India, but I'd like to see them do better in the next few years to come. So let's have a quick look at that other competition, the SAF Championship, which should be here. And they managed to win it twice once again. So very good. And now let's have a quick look at the Indian Premier League. So here we are at the RTL I-League or I-League. And we've seen 4 different winners: Aizawi FC, Chennai City, Naroka and Mohammedan, which is always a delight to see if you ask me. So let's have a quick look at the most recent transfers. So let's go back to this season. And we've seen Mateus Ferreira move for 21.5 million. And Mamoun Hossein, oh, that was a transfer we just saw. It's this guy again. He went to... Oh no, that's Mohamed Hossein. Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. He then moved back to Mohun Bagan and then already moved to Fenerbahce in Turkey. So, okay, cool to see. And Mateus Ferreira, Brazilian 35-year-old. He then went to the Chinese league. So let's have a quick look at the season after that. So, decent transfer fees. Guy moving in from Grêmio in Brazil, and 2 players moved to CSKA Moscow in Russia, of course. But there's some decent transfer fees and a lot of players as well coming from or South America or Mexico or around there. And then the season after, we've seen this guy, Volodymyr Nakonemchi, something like that, Ukrainian player, moved to Besiktas. And then a player from Grêmio, Xuksa. He's now at Churchill Bros. He's been doing fine, he's moved again. And then a lot of players again coming in from Brazil, and a player coming in for RC Strasbourg in France, and some coming in from some Ghana and ASEC from Côte d'Ivoire. Then some transfer within the league again, a player moving out of India to Fiorentina, but they paid 11.5, moving up to 14.25 million for Sandro Zedes, a Brazilian once again, no surprise, but he's been in India for a long time, so he should have an Indian nationality now. Yeah, he does. So that makes it easier for Indian teams to get more players in, because of the Indian nationality requirements in the RTL I-League. So let's have a quick look at the current season. Nick Jansen moving from Ajax to Gokulam FC. Ahmed Abdel Al moving from Dynamo Kiev to Mohammedan. Itinho moving from Vasco da Gama to Mumbai FC. And Wilson from Chennai City to Everton, so he's moved out of India. A Spanish player. He played for Barcelona. Wow, that's a very impressive transfer to make. A regular at Barcelona coming to India, which is very impressive to see. Well done. So then there's a lot of players, and this guy moving from China to India, but that's about it. So let's have a quick look at the Durand Cup, which always takes a few seconds to load. And we've seen Aizawi FC win it, Mumbai FC have won it, Mohammedan have won it, and Chennai City have won it. So 4 different winners. And then the Federation Cup, which was the most reputable league. No, it's not anymore. The Japanese Cup overtook it, but Churchill Bros won it, Naroka, Mohun Bagan and Aizawi FC. So let's just have a quick look at the AFC Champions League. And it has finally happened. Indian teams have won the AFC Champions League and have become the best club in all of Asia. As you can see, in 2040, Aizawi FC managed to win the Asian Champions League, and then Chennai City won it twice, which is incredibly impressive. So, Aizawi FC managed to beat Guangzhou Evergrande, which has been one of the most dominant teams in India and Asia, I'm very sorry. And then Chennai City managed to beat Shangang from China as well And they managed to beat a Chinese team again. Huaxia Xinfu. There. They managed to beat them. So let's have a quick look at these finals. So go back to the first one, which is this one, I believe. And it is. Aizawi managed to beat Gangster Evergrande on penalties. So very good luck to them. Then Chennai City managed to beat Shanghai 2-3 over 2 legs, of course. And then Chennai City managed to beat Huaxia Xinfu 2-1 over 2 legs as well, which is very good. I'm so happy to see these teams win it and be the best teams in the whole of Asia. And then let's have still a quick look at the Asian Confederation Cup and see if the Indian dominance continues here. And it actually has. Mohun Bagan, Naroka, East Bengal and Aizawi have won it. 4 different Indian teams. So very good to see. They've played a few different teams from Jordan, Qatar, Iraq, and this was Uzbekistan. Yeah, I remember that stuff. So let's have a quick look at the FIFA Club World Cup as well, which is something I haven't looked at all. So let's type it in, FIFA Club World Cup. And the most recent winner, whoa, San Lorenzo. It's very good by them. But since the start of this experiment, the European teams have been dominant, of course. And no team outside of South America or North America and Europe have won it, since Tigres and Club America belong to the North American continent. And we've seen AS Tunis become second twice. And so an African team, and then Jiangsu Guang Sainty and a few different Asian teams have managed to be third, but none of our teams have actually made it to the top of this list, which is unfortunate. But here is where I'll end this episode. I hope to see you in episode 4, where we'll close off this experiment and try and hope, more or less, to see if India can actually win the World Cup, or even, which is in my opinion one of the more important things as well, win the Asian Cup. I don't think we'll see an Indian team win this competition, but let's just hope, you never know. So, I'll end it here. I hope to see you next time, where we'll look at the recent progression of India. Have a good one. Bye.